Michael Jordan retires after the third straight championship in 1993. And there are many who believe that Michael Jordan would have won another championship after if he didn't retire. There's at least 50% of the basketball community who thinks that. Is that fair? Is that a fair statement to make?
I think there's more than that, but keep on.
You think there's more? Dude, when you listen to
I
young
want to say
fans,
probably like 90%.
Yeah, I feel like young NBA fans, none of them think that. It's really weird. It's something I didn't believe before 2021, but there's this Facebook chat that we're both a part of. That there's like a
Hopefully,
million.
yeah, part of this community.
Probably a part of it if you're on Facebook. And there are some of the craziest shit. It's like, it triggers me. If your goal is to trigger me, you've won. But point being, we are going to use. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say a lot of those people are just LeBron fans, so they're just being haters. Which is
that's all they've seen.
Yeah, I guess, but I think it's more, I think they're just being more trolly than anything.
Maybe, but regardless, that's why we're fucking here, because we are taking our time machine and our hypothetical series and bringing the 91 Bulls and that team, which is very similar to the 93 team that won the championship. There are some differences, obviously, but let's break it down. So this is the League of Olajuwon, in my opinion. This season, this is like Hakeem's absolute apex. Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and the Rockets win the championship. All in this one season.
Before, just curious, out of curiosity.
What did he put up the year before?
Yeah, you could just click his name.
I got it. The year before, Hakeem was 26 and 13, 3.5 assists, 4.2 blocks, leading the league.
Oh.
Next year, 27 and 12, 3.6 assists, basically the same thing. 3.7 blocks. Not leading the league, but still dominant. Right. Houston wins a fuck ton of games.
All right, I got a hot take.
Is it that? I'm sure it's not going to be that hot, but okay.
Well, it's hot to you because I know you love this guy. I really feel like he only shined because Jordan wasn't there.
Oh, well, that's a weird that's like a very yeah.
So this is what, let me explain.
That's a take Skip Bayless would make, so I want to hear this. Go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to do that, but this is what I'm saying. He only what changed? He only scored a point more.
Jordan has nothing to do with the center position, though. Like,
I understand what Dario's saying, though.
Yeah, like the reason he was able, it's like the when LeBron, best example is when LeBron was injured in 2019. Everyone felt like Kawhi Leonard was the best player in the world because of what he did, right? Yeah. And it's just because you didn't see the best player in the world there playing, so it gave you that illusion like, oh, this guy is crazy. So, but when just the year before, Kawhi Leonard was pretty much the same player, could do very similar things, and he didn't look like that guy because you saw that guy every game. Throughout the whole playoffs, everything, and you were seeing the greatest player in the world. So it takes away from the next guy, kind of thing.
What takes away from that take is that the last year Michael Jordan was there. Hakeem Olajuwon, even though you're like, what changed? He's still ahead of Michael Jordan MVP voting. He's got more first place votes than Michael Jordan, and his team is still winning basketball games. He's also in the West. Like, him and Michael Jordan barely played each other. That's like a big part of this whole thing. And in my opinion, the most interesting part of this particular hypothetical is, I assume, because in the second championship run, the Rockets were this close. If it wasn't for John Stockton's buzzer beater in Game 7, the Rockets were this close to making it against the Bulls with Hakeem, Barkley, and Drexler, right? And we would have gotten to see, because Hakeem was still playing, not at his complete apex, but still close to it. And he was definitely the alpha on that team. But at this point, this would be peak Jordan, peak Olajuwon, The teams are built around both. They're both in their absolute prime. And that's because they really didn't have anything to do with each other when it comes to on the court stuff, like playing each other a lot, like in the same way, for example, Reggie Miller or even Shaq, who is going to make the finals this year or the next year. I think it's the next year, but I don't think Olajuwon and Jordan have a lot to do with each other, which I really think is
no. But I'm not saying that they do. What I'm saying is the reason you said this is the Olajuwon dominance year.
Oh well, yeah, Jordan would have been the poster child.
But but I don't think Olajuwon would have looked like that, and he would have.
That's what I don't understand.
And I don't. This is why I don't. When it's like LeBron, because I'm just trying to put it into like current context.
I get what you're saying, but
LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was clearly the second best player in the league for a while, right? Throughout we would watch them against each other, and it didn't look like LeBron made KD not look like that player, right? And it was.
But I think Olajuwon's so much better than what I think. I just don't agree because I think Olajuwon's better than you're putting him at, in my opinion. Because I think it's neck and neck in that last season between Jordan and Olajuwon in terms of like where they're both at. And I said it during the legacy breakdown. During the legacy breakdown, I was like, I think Jordan's last season in terms of his motivation and Hakeem Olajuwon at this point are neck and neck. Because even going into...
I just disagree.
Well, I know that. That's what's evident. Yeah. But if we're just looking at the 91 situation, right? If we're just looking at the 91 situation, he definitely gets another scoring title, right? Because he's at obviously over 30. But where's he at exactly? 31 and a half, right?
Yep.
So his 31 and a half, easily gets him atop the league.
Yeah.
And I think
it's the same. Really?
Yeah, I definitely think it's. I don't have. There's no reason to suggest it would change at all, right? Especially considering motivation. This is not 93 Jordan. This is 91 Jordan looking for his first chip. Super highly motivated. That's why we picked this team.
Yeah, and I have the Bulls this year winning over 60 games, so they'll be ahead of they'll be top of the East.
No one in the East gets to 60 wins without MJ, which I think is interesting. You'd think at least one team would, like the Knicks. Everyone thought the Knicks would take that spot, right? We discussed it when we were looking at the legacy breakdown. Year before, Knicks are able to get 60 games over the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it then. I think it looks like this, right? With the Bulls, say having 60 here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very similar.
Which then...
And just so people know the difference, if you guys aren't looking at the legacy breakdowns, which you should be.
Facts.
But the difference is this Bulls team is probably the most motivated team out of the entire dynasty. Right. And also, this is the triangle at its best and probably some of the best defense out of the whole dynasty as well. So I think with a motivated Michael Jordan and plus a guy who's really playing within the system, I think it leads to more games won.
Definitely.
Because the 93 Jordan, though his stats and everything are amazing, and I personally felt like it was his apex greatest year.
Yeah.
They still have a lack of motivation throughout most of the season, and you only really don't see that as much in the playoffs. But this 91 team played the best in the playoffs compared to any of the championship teams. They only lost 2 games in that whole playoffs, and it was off of, I think it was in an average of like 2 points each loss, like, or maybe
also important to note, Scottie Pippen not on the All-Star team in 91, but I'm convinced through research and the post-editing work that I did for that 91 season I'm convinced that's because of the migraine game. I'm convinced.
Yeah, it's media.
Reporters in the media were so scarred by the migraine game, and coaches for that matter too.
Yeah.
That
and people made
you could tell because he had a good year. Like he played well enough to be that second guy on the championship team, and then they won over 60 games. So,
what did he do in the playoffs this year? Like, what was his?
Pretty sure he levels up.
Oh,
21.6. He leveled up. 21, 9, and 6, 2.5 steals in the playoffs, and a block. So he leveled the fuck.
Actually, that Scotty might be the best Scotty.
The reason why 92 is for me is because he took that and ran with it in 92, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But now we can go back. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and for people who probably like they're making excuses for why Scotty, we've seen this throughout all of NBA history where they make up some bullshit so people can't win MVP or something, like LeBron in 2011, Michael Jordan in 1997. Yeah, so we've seen a lot of these moments where it happens in history. So I could definitely see someone getting screwed, not getting an All-Star pick because of a migraine game that could have won them ended up winning them a championship if he would have played.
So that brings me back to the Olajuwon thing, right? If we're going to say Jordan's going to get 60 games and win the scoring title, this is exactly the case I made against Karl Malone in 97. Olajuwon's going to get Defensive Player of the Year. I still think he will get that over Michael Jordan.
It's a fight, though.
Oh, I'm sure it's a fight. Look, it's a fight this year. This is the closest Defensive Player of the Year award race I've seen. Between the top three guys, it's split by very few votes, less than 5.
Yeah.
And I know Jordan's going to get in this top 3.
For sure. Because he's going to have the 3. Doesn't he get 3 steals in a block? Is that not his? Is that his?
Pretty much. 2.7 steals in a block. He will be in the top 3, 100%. And you know how this Bulls team is going to rank in the tops of defense.
Yep.
They are 7th in defensive rating and 4th in points per game, opponent points per game.
Yep.
So they will be a top defensive team. But I still think Olajuwon gets Defensive Player of the Year here.
I agree.
By a smidge. Because I think Jordan actually...
4 and 2, kind of. I mean, 4 blocks and 2 steals, kind of.
Well, I just think he takes votes away from Mutombo and Robinson and Olajuwon, which means I just think, I don't know, I think Hakeem ends up with the most votes out of the 4 of those guys. It's a hot Defensive Player of the Year race. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We didn't really look into that because we just looked at Scotty down here just to see where he was at.
Yeah, we weren't looking for the. Where did Scotty rank that year in
He's 4th.
Oh, 4th. Okay. And he got some good. He got a good amount of votes too.
That's what I'm saying. This race is fucking wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. But that's another reason why Jordan kind of probably gets pulled out of that too. Like if you have another guy on your team that's in Defensive Player of the Year race as well, like it kind of takes away from you a little.
Yeah,
because it's like you have help from this other guy that's playing great defense, so it kind of evens the stuff. It's the same thing with MVP. That's
true. And Olajuwon, I'm pretty sure, is the only All-Star on this Houston team this year. Next year, I think he'll get. It's either this year. Next year they're the 6th seed. This year, I think he's the only All-Star. Yeah, I'm pretty positive out of these guys. Maybe Maxwell. I'll double check, but I don't think so.
Kenny Smith might have won the 3-point shooting competition this year.
I mean, Steve Kerr's done that a bunch of times, but I don't put that.
No, I know. I wasn't saying it like.
I'm just trolling. So, yeah, no All-Stars for Maxwell. That's what I thought. So, Olajuwon's the only All-Star here. And obviously the defensive anchor. I think he keeps the award. So now we're back to MVP, and we're back looking at Olajuwon versus Jordan. I like you said, if they're going to win more games, I think Jordan will take MVP crown here.
I agree.
Scoring title and most wins has meant MVP for Michael Jordan in every year except the bullshit year of 97.
Yeah.
So,
and he's pretty much averaging 32, 6, and 6, right?
31.
It's the same.
30, it's exactly 31 and a half.
But 31.5 rounds to 32, Russell. This is just...
It's close, though. It's close.
math.
It's exactly in the middle. I feel weird rounding. This is why I'm a terrible rounder. So 31.5, 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 2.7 steals, and exactly a block.
Yep.
Shooting 54% from the field. That I feel comfortable rounding. But
yeah,
unheard of for a guard.
I'd really argue. And I'd look at Jordan and probably think he's MVP.
Did he get 1,000? Did he make 1,000 field goals?
I think so.
He's 10 away. He hit 990.
Oh,
fucker! I think he would still get MVP because he won MVP this season too over tough competition in Magic, who's also on the All NBA first team. Not washed up. Want more on that? Go check out that season of Jordan's Legacy Breakdown.
Yeah. Don't let these fools fool you.
That ass.
Big.
So now we're getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? We feel good about that. Jordan's taking MVP in 93-94. Yeah. Jordan's definitely getting All NBA first team, and he's definitely winning the scoring title. We feel good about those 3 things.
For sure.
Yeah? Okay. So then definitely looking into the playoffs, right? If they're the first seed, they're getting the Knicks. They're getting the Nets.
Yeah, so that's a smoker.
That's a smoker. But let's have some fun with it. Who do we want to see them go against in the East? Just for shits and giggles in the first round.
Well, I definitely want. Oh, the first round?
Yeah, let's just say, give me a hypothetical team. This is hypotheticals. We don't need to do it exactly by the book here. We're working with the time machine. Who do we want to see them face in the first round? We got Shaq and the Magic sitting here, right?
You got Miami. Is Alonzo there at that point?
I don't want to see that boring ass shit. Fuck that. We saw that in the later years, and it was a pace of like 70.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland will be nice again just to see him dog walk him again. I mean, I don't really care about the first round ever.
I want to see him go against the Magic. I want to see him go against this Magic team because Shaq and Penny's on the All NBA first team.
Time out. Don't let this fool you. I'm not stupid. I know Russell like the back of my hand. He didn't pick the Magic for no reason. He picked it with ulterior motives. He knows you're gonna have the Bulls going against a big man. He's trying to stir up his argument for later on.
Here is the question I want to hear answered. Does Horace Grant really mean that much to this situation? Because now we're bringing 90-91, that team, right?
Yeah.
And it's, we're going to keep to the 2021. In my head, I always think 7-game series. I know it's a 3-game series back then. It's still a 3-game series, right? But in my head, I'm always thinking in 7 games. So, because we always end up doing 7 games too, even when we do this. So,
the Magic are going to get swept again.
You think they'll get swept? I'm taking Bulls in 6. Because I think...
Hell no.
I think Hardaway... I think Scotty and a fully motivated peak Michael Jordan are just like...
Yeah.
Destroying them.
Yeah.
Completely eliminating them. Right? Penny's going to turn it up a little bit when we get to the playoffs, but I don't think that'll happen against Scotty and fucking... What do you call it? And I think a 21-year-old Shaq is still a little too young. But I think he definitely gets at least one 28-15 Shaq. I'm 21 years old. I need to get my numbers game.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he doesn't. 21-year-old Shaq, like, if they were not winning, they didn't make it out of the first round when he's super young. He's too young. He's definitely all about his numbers right now.
I think that gets nullified by Jordan averaging 35.
Yeah, I agree.
So I feel like that's why I feel like it gets swept, because I don't think Penny or any of the guards are going to be able to do anything against this team. And maybe Shaq gets his numbers, but I feel like Penny pretty much is number 2, and everybody else gets nullified.
So Jordan,
this is like Jordan and Scotty at their best defense, and then it's also the triangle flowing. Like if you ever wanted to see like the triangle at its best in the 90s, you watch this year, and that's just how it kind of worked out.
And Jordan, he's gonna put up, like, when he goes up against decent competition, he's properly motivated, like Charles Barkley here in Philly. Like, as we know, he destroyed, right? 33, 8 and 8, almost 2 steals and a block and a half.
Yeah.
Probably close to that, I would say, for Jordan's averaging in this series.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yo, he had a 38 and 19 game. What?
My man said, "Fuck you, Charles. I'm better at rebounding than you." That was the whole point of the game. It was the closeout. His goal was like, I'm out rebounding Charles Barkley. That was the entire motivation, guaranteed. Also shot over 30 times. But I think 6 games in like a standard series. If it's only going 3 though, like if it's just a 3-game series and that's it, I do think it's more likely to be a sweep.
Yeah.
Just shrinking the games just screws that lower seeded team.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the whole point. It's not supposed to, especially at that point. It's like we're not rewarding you for being the worst team in the playoffs, kind of thing. And we have to reward the top seeded team. You know, especially at that time, they're grinding it out.
Yeah.
You know, throughout the year, like you deserve the little easy 3-game series. Let's dip out, or 5-game series. Let's dip out.
You want to see the series we got in the semifinals, or do you want to save the Knicks for the finals?
The Knicks would have been 2nd seed anyway, so we could go as like what actually would have happened.
Okay, because we just didn't at all.
You chose that. That was your fault. That's not my fault.
So
I was going with the team. I was going to go with the team.
I wanted to continue the theatric pattern over the legitimate pattern. I'm with the theatrics where we build it up. And
Let's go with the Pacers.
All right, Lindsay agrees with me.
No, she doesn't. You wanted to go to the Knicks.
No, I said I want the Knicks in the finals.
Oh no, we agreed then.
Oh, okay, cool. Then we were just miscommunicating.
Yeah,
right,
well,
that's
we got
shocking.
the Pacers.
That's never happened before.
Yeah, it never happens to me and Dario.
I said it was the 1 and 2 seed, and the Knicks would have faced the Bulls in the final. I thought I said
it'll work out. So let's Bulls Pacers, right? Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan in the beginning, in more of Reggie's. I don't know. Reggie's prime was really long because he was one of those guys that played for 20 years.
Yeah.
And his prime was like a very consistent 20 points and a bunch of threes. Like,
yeah.
Well, in that time, a bunch of threes.
Yeah, well,
shooting a Kobe level of threes for his career, to be honest.
Yeah.
And in the playoffs, he's going to step it up to over 2, get 23 a game. He does pick up his play in the playoffs. This is that classic series with the Knicks that he'll get to in the real life conference finals where he does the, choke sign and shit. I'm pretty sure it's that year. They go 2 straight years, and it's just theatrics throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
But with MJ, and this is why MJ and Scottie destroyed the league throughout this decade. Because look at all these guys that just get completely crossed out by the excellent perimeter defense of Michael and Scottie. Like, it's hard to imagine Reggie shooting 42% from the 3 against the Bulls. Like, it just seems really unlikely.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
Pace is going to slow down because it always does with this Bulls fucking team.
Yeah.
And I'm taking the Bulls in 5 because I don't think Rick Smits is Shaq in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And even 21-year-old Shaq, like I said, is getting his numbers. I can't see that unless the Davis boys just come in and beat the fuck out of MJ. That's the only way that they get more than a game in a 7-game.
Yeah. Yeah. They're pretty much going to be taking out their main, like the heart of the team, and which matters so much in a 7-game series. If your main guy can't produce, I could see Reggie having one like crazy game, so that's why like I'll give him the game. But like in the 5, I'll probably do the same thing. I think the Bulls win in 5
because we know the Bulls we know the Bulls didn't go out of their way to defend the three, but that's not that important in this era. It's only important because of Reggie.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like they're going to get that one game, because he'll make 5 or 6 threes in one game, and that'll get them over the hump.
It's on the scouting report, so so they're definitely gonna. That's why it's gonna be so difficult for him throughout the whole. And even I don't see him shooting more than the 5. Start chucking to try to make it, keep them in the game, because that's not what they were doing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't. That really wasn't happening that much. He would hit the 3. Isaiah Thomas always said, and he coached Reggie after this point, but Isaiah Thomas always said Reggie would hit the 3 to keep you in the game. He was that guy for sure. But he's not the guy, 3.7 threes a game, and in the playoffs, he's putting up 5. Like, it's not, like I just can't imagine more than that, especially considering the time period.
Yeah. And it makes sense, though, because, like, at the time, the 3-point shot was looked at as not the best shot on the floor. So you could see why he's, like, in reality, you look at Reggie Miller, he probably should have really took closer to 10.
That's why Reggie Miller in 2021 is one of the more interesting superstars. Because there's a great, Bill Simmons makes the case that Reggie Miller is not a real superstar. But if you bring it to 2021, there's a case to be made that he doubles and takes 10, gets that to 4, and then all of a sudden he looks closer to 27, 28.
Reggie Miller in this tier is like Paul George, in that Paul George tier. Not obviously he's
more clutch.
But he's obviously Paul George is just the tier that I put for those guys that, like, you don't call them a superstar, but they're better than an all-star. Sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not comparing him directly to Paul George's game, because obviously they don't play it and Reggie was actually clutch. But
I'm not saying he gets to Steph Curry level of, like, I don't know if he wins MVPs in 2021, but I definitely think he's he could solid all-star for sure.
Lillard-esque.
Ooh, that's a good comparison for me.
Yeah.
Not play style, but that fits the clutch gene. Yep. That fits what Dame Lillard's trying to do as an offensive player.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing,
Reggie could drive to the basket and stuff too. Like, people just forget that.
But the difference between Reggie and Dame Lillard, and I wouldn't have known this without the Olympics this past year, is Reggie Miller can play in that style, because Reggie Miller's going to be on Dream Team 2 and be really good on that team in '96, where Dame Lillard looked like he couldn't be on the floor for the Olympics.
When you say that style, do you mean like not just like dribble? Like, what do you mean by that style? Like, more of a pass?
A lot of people came back from the Olympics this year and said that the Olympic basketball style is way more comparable to the way basketball was played in the era we're talking about right now, in the mid-'90s to the early 2000s, just because of the way the rules are.
Yeah.
And it took America a while to go, oh, we can fucking be physical with these guys? Let's get it. And then they kind of changed their style a little bit. But Dame Lillard, if you've noticed, and some of this will be on your screen, he had a very rough Olympics, just because that style is not the way, we play at 2021 NBA. And he had quotes. Saying, this is so much harder to score.
Yeah. And I just wanted you to elaborate on that, just so people could understand what you meant. So, and this is what we mean when we say these guys that you see wilding out from the 3-point line and doing all this crazy shit, it's different when you put hands on them.
Yeah.
You don't get the same. It doesn't feel the same. Even if you shoot an open shot, it doesn't feel the same, because you're so used to feeling that physical. It changes your confidence. It doesn't make you feel like you can make every shot, and it matters a lot. Like,
yeah, facts. I was surprised in that out of Damian Lillard. I kind of thought it would mean less.
I'm not gonna lie. I was very happy that it happened, because that's an argument everybody has.
Hey, and Kevin Durant's still the only person to put up 20 points per game in Olympic competition, which was even more impressive.
And to me, the reason was, one, Kevin Durant came from an era where they kind of touched him up a little more.
Yeah.
When he first, like, around where he first started, but also he has that all around the court. Like, you could be in the mid range, you could get a shot from everywhere. And
but also defensively, I didn't know he could play physical.
Yeah,
He
I
definitely did.
Katie,
That was impressive. I didn't see that coming out of him. Was
he's
the physicality on defense.
pushing his
'Cause that's always his.
yeah.
Everyone always says, that frail. He's 100 pounds soaking wet. Like
He's moving up on his case for top 15 all time.
Hey, and he's moving up on his place for something we're going to get into at a later hypothetical. But let's move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, where the Bulls see a very familiar foe.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks, my least favorite team in all professional sports, led by Spike Lee. Patrick Ewing. But Spike Lee definitely in attendance.
Yes.
And how do we feel?
Like, what do I have in the series? Or
6 games.
You got 6, Len?
Yeah, I like that, Lynn, because that was exactly what I was going to go with. I was going to go with 6. My reason is they went 7 with that Bulls team without Michael Jordan. You could argue they were maybe as hungry just to prove that they can do it without Mike. And they also just don't like the Knicks.
Yeah.
But you have, because we got to remember, in that 7-game series, you could have really argued the Bulls could have won it if they didn't have some of those issues, like in the middle of the series with Scotty and now getting mad that he wasn't the one taking the shot, all this other bullshit. Where we know who the hell was going to take the shot. There's no question about it.
We know who Poppy is.
Yeah. Scotty knows
who Poppy is in the house. Poppy is not left. He is here to feed his children game-winning shots.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think that you're just going to have a lot of Michael Jordan doing his thing, killing the Knicks as he did his whole career.
So in the 91 season, Michael Jordan 29 points a game, 6 assists, over 2.5 steals, and 52.5%, 53 if you go by Dario Albuquerque logic.
No, if you go by normal math standards, don't. In the comment section for Russell, because he doesn't look at sometimes, depending on how mean you are, it's annoying. But if you can tell him, wait, what did you guys learn in
math class?
Yeah, in math is what is the round? When do you round? You let him know.
Very easy.
If you don't say after 5, I'm shitting on y'all in the comments, and it's gonna be from my own personal account, and I'm just shitting on all of y'all.
Okay, 96% from the line against the Knicks in 3 games, and he was dominant, and was dunking on Patrick Ewing at will, right?
Was Patrick Ewing the one that the guy that he dunked on when he did on the baseline?
Well, that's the most underrated. That move is the most underrated move of Jordan's pantheon of moves, in my opinion.
Underrated?
Yes, because I think that move's better than any move he's ever done in the finals, in my opinion. I think that move's better than
the game winner.
I think that's probably the best dunk of his career. Like when you include the whole package.
Yeah, 100% the best dunk of his career.
And short of the layup where he's like this over 12 people and goes underneath.
Yeah.
That it's my favorite Jordan play ever because why don't more people do that?
Because they can't. You know how hard that is to do?
That's
I've always looked at that move and thought, that is insane. Because the amount of, that was so witty, what he did. Because you go to the baseline, you act like you're going to dribble it back out, and within, milliseconds, you spin off the defender's, completely.
He's getting double-teamed. The double's coming, so he has to, in a split second, see the double, spin back, and then jump so high that his elbow bashes against the fucking rim when he dunks on you.
And mind you, he's dunking on a guy that's averaging 2 to 3 blocks a game.
Yeah, that is known for his defense. That got Georgetown on the map because of his defense. Yeah. Was the first major center to run through there, right?
And he looks like a fucking bulldog, pit bull motherfucker with little ass head and big body. Tell him, Lynn.
Yeah, his tiny little head on his big shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. What is we talking about out here? He dunked on Patrick Ewing's bitch ass.
So, how many? You still think 7? You said. I think Yeah, I think you said 6.
I agreed with Len. Yeah, it was 6.
I feel like 6 is appropriate, but if it was 5, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I agree. Because I really
Hungry Mike.
Yeah, Hungry Mike is different.
91 Mike's like, wait, we don't have the Pistons? These guys are like weak Pistons.
Yeah, these guys are pussies.
Yeah.
Like, I could do this.
They swept the Pistons this year.
Yeah,
So-
I love these motherfuckers.
So
But-
I think they get them in 6 or 5. If it was 5, I would not be like. It would
And
be.
you want to know what? I almost want to go back to that Pacers series and say sweep because I'm forgetting like these Bulls are different. Like
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that hunger is different in these Bulls,
And Jordan slowly throughout this starts to trust his teammates a little more and more, which leads to 31-11 in the finals.
yeah, and it leads to that Game 5 where you got Phil Jackson saying, Michael, who's open? And he has to say freaking Paxson like 50 billion times, and it was
available
in
in our archives. Also, I got a clip on that one.
Yeah.
But
so you going even 5 on this.
yeah.
And we gotta remember he really hates Patrick Ewing. He's not.
Well,
really
he's
No,
he's Patrick
talking about
Ewing's frenemy. I think that's the greatest thing to say about him.
You don't like Patrick Ewing. So
Oh yeah, I don't. I mean,
why he would think 5 instead.
he wears blue, orange, and white. He can't be respected.
I think Patrick Ewing is an adorable human.
Patrick Ewing is an incredibly nice person, and I think he's a good player.
I
But
still am mad that Future Russell has yet to find me a picture of Patrick Ewing in a hat, though.
There's no way. He can't.
Look, at the end of the day, he had his chance to go up against a great center, mano a mano in the finals, and that's the story of his career, in my opinion.
But unfortunately, he went against a top 5 center of all time.
And that's kind of my point. This was a land of the dinosaurs in terms of
He's
great
not
centers.
top 5.
If he was in 2021, he'd be one of the 3 best centers in the league easily. Like
he was in 2021. Yeah, for sure.
But don't even get me started if he's in like 2012.
Wait.
He might be the MVP in 2012.
And if you guys are wondering, like, why are we still talking about Patrick Ewing? This is what we do, guys.
Yeah.
I got a question though. So out of the 3 best centers in the league, who are you putting over him? You putting Embiid, Joker, and then him?
Probably. I think he's Gobert with offense.
Yeah, I know. I agree, but I just find it funny because Patrick Ewing is looked at as a top. Was he a top 50 player all time?
Yes, and he will be at the top 75 at 2022 All-Star Weekend.
And you might see that in a couple weeks. We might do something a little special for you. Maybe
so.
Yeah,
but
that's crazy to me because, like, to look at that. But it's also a different league now, so I could see why you would be, because he doesn't really have a jump shot. He's not really a shooter. So
that's the other thing I was going to say is he was at the time heralded for his shooting from the mid range and like occasionally would take the corner 3.
Yeah,
like I can get highlights of that. Like he's more than other centers at the time, like the Shaqs, people like that. So. I don't think it would be much of a transition for him to develop that outside shot, which would be the great X factor in his 2021 success.
Yeah.
Look,
he was 1 for 1 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, that's why. Like, no, he only takes 1 in the series, and he's not. He's the center, but he has a decent. What do you call it? He has a decent shot for the era, so maybe he could develop it. Kind of like Kevin McHale he has an excellent shot for the turnaround in the mid range and that kind of stuff. There are people who believe he could have extended his shot to make a corner 3, for example, like the Ibaka. But let's get to the finals. So now talk to me about.
Now I want you to talk to me this time.
All right.
I'm very curious to know what you feel.
We have Hakeem Olajuwon and his Houston Rockets getting through the Western Conference, right? Who did they beat to get here? They beat the Jazz, just stomped the Jazz out.
So Utah and Houston had a little rivalry throughout the
for sure. For sure. So did Houston and Phoenix, for that matter, too. 7 games, and then they beat Portland, and they made Clyde Drexler call Hakeem Olajuwon in the parking lot and be like, "I must join you." But Rockets,
Did he do that?
no. I can't. There's no proof. There's no proof behind that. I can't prove that. Let me not.
What'd you say?
I said there's no proof to that. I can't prove that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, this happened multiple times in NBA history. We just got bitches up in the league.
But Hakeem, who won the MVP, is going to step up his play in the playoffs. 29, 11, over 4 assists now, almost 2 steals, and gets to the 4 blocks a game. So he is going ham, shooting 52%, doing all the contested, wild Hakeem shit.
Yeah.
And he's got the shooters around him, right? He's got 3 guys over a 3.5 made a game, which matters for this era greatly because that's just not happening. When we were looking at Reggie Miller and the Pacers before, Reggie was the only guy that was taking or making over 1 3 a game, and he was hitting 2, right? So this is very forward thinking.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
It looks kind of like Dwight Howard that year they made the finals against Kobe and the Lakers, but specifically before that point because they really got rocked. But Dwight on the inside, kicking out to the shooters around him.
Yeah.
And I think this gives Jordan a lot of trouble, right?
It's funny that you say that. I like the comparison you made. You want to know why?
Because of your gloating ass smirk on your face as soon as you said it.
Yeah. I was like, thanks, Russ, for walking me right into it. So, as we know, the Lakers faced this, and who was the coach of the Lakers back in 2009?
Poppy Phil,
right? Yeah. So, clearly he had a plan for something like this, right?
Uncle Phil, excuse me.
Uncle Phil. No, call him Poppy. It's good. We like that. So you got the Lakers pretty much going against a very similar style. Granted, Dwight Howard is no Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, I've already gave Hakeem his flowers, top 5 center of all time. I don't know, Russell. Do you feel like he's a top 5 center?
I feel like he's a top 3 center of all time, but that's a case to be made for a different day.
Ooh, I like that.
To be made for a very different day.
Yeah, I can see that because if we go by my hating ass and don't really care about the 60s, then I would really feel that way. But then Russell makes me feel bad when I treat the 60s players like they're hot garbage. So because he's way better than, to me, he's better than Will Chamberlain skill wise. Straight up, like Will was like big, athletic, everything.
I would love to see Will Chamberlain play. If Will Chamberlain played in the 80s, it would be so much easier to put him against so many other players because I think he's 25 and 15 in the 80s. I really believe that. If Moses Malone can do that, I think definitely
see that. I'm not mad at that.
If that's the case, I'm not sure. I just don't know what he's doing to score. If he's getting to 30 and 15, then we're having a totally different discussion.
And versus
I don't know.
He's a lock. Hakeem's a lockdown defender too. Like, it's not that easy. Like,
Hakeem is perfect when you bring him forward, right? Obviously, if you bring him backwards, he's great and completely dominant. But when you bring him forward,
for sure.
he as the center position starts to evolve into where we're at now, he fits it in every single era.
Yeah.
Amazing offensive player, hits all these contested post shots, right? And I think he's one of the few guys who would be allowed to have a post game in this era, in today's era.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
And he's the best interior defender in basketball.
Yeah. You've made that comparison too between Joel and they play very. Joel is watched.
Where Joel is separating himself though is he can fucking do this shit, hit step back threes. I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah,
from him. He looks like a point guard sometimes in a frightening way.
Yeah, but so my thing is, I feel like I got the Bulls winning in 6, right?
Okay,
and this is my reason. I feel like Hakeem will get his similar to what Dwight did.
Yeah,
but the 3-point shot is gonna be nullified, and I really do feel like that's going to be Phil Jackson's plan because you already alluded to the 09 Lakers. That was exactly what their plan was. If you watch that 09, and I know this by heart, like I can remember every shot really because that was like the heart of my life and everything. I talk about Kobe every single episode on this podcast, so you probably know. And but it's because they freaking the Magic were going crazy, blazing threes throughout that whole playoffs.
Yeah,
they destroyed the Cavs. They beat a injured Celtics team.
Yeah,
and they obviously swept through the first round. Once they faced the Lakers, though, they couldn't make those threes. And it was because of the game plan. They knew we running you off the court, you're gonna have to beat us with twos. We're running you off the 3-point line, you're gonna have to beat us with twos. And
I think that was a lot easier to do in 2010, though. But I don't disagree that's. I feel like you'd have to be a fool to have that not be the game plan in this era.
Yeah.
Like,
but my whole thing is they're taking much less threes, right?
Right.
And
are they? I mean,
no, they are.
They're attempted though. They're taking a good amount in comparison.
If we go back, if you want, we could go back to 09, and I'm pretty sure it's like.
I'll check. I mean, I'm gonna check real quick because while I am sure they're taking more, I wonder how much more exactly. So they're taking 16 a game, right? I feel like that's not going to be that far off. I don't know why, but in my head, I'm like,
they're making 5. Oh,
they're making. I'm sure the Magic are making more.
Yeah,
and
that's the whole thing. It doesn't even matter. Like at that, like 5 threes in that time is not enough to like make. I think that's why they couldn't. If they would have shot more threes, they probably would have separated themselves much more. 26.
All right, I was totally fucking wrong. Apologies.
And they're making double. They're making double it.
Yeah, apologies. But I knew it wasn't as like for the era.
I just remember in that postseason, I remember them just making all the threes in the world, and I remember I was rooting for them because I was like, "Fuck LeBron," but I can't. So no, we're not doing that. I'm controlling myself, not bringing over. But, I'm not going back to my LeBron hatred. But
you like the Bulls in 6.
And my reasoning is because they're going to stop the 3-point shot. But I also feel like Hakeem, he's not going to be able, his scoring is not going to be able to, it's going to be nullified or outmatched by Jordan's scoring. I think Jordan's putting up.
Jordan's going to have to work the mid-range, though. Like he's not going to, that's the interesting thing. Jordan doesn't have. You know who should have really been talking?
He's dunking on Hakeem. Fuck that.
He doesn't have any dunks on him. He has no dunks on Olajuwon. He has no dunks that are in Jordan's lore about.
We gotta look that up. Jordan dunking.
You know me. I'll do my best. If I'm fucking talking shit, there will be a dunk of Jordan on Olajuwon on your screen right now. But fucking, I've never seen one. I've never seen him really fucking get him. And you know. That would be on Jordan's side.
Probably, for sure.
It would. For all the people that say Hakeem would have had Jordan's number. I think I'll take the Bulls in 7. I think Hakeem gets 30 and 12 with 3.5 blocks to 4 blocks a game.
Okay.
And I think Jordan's going to obviously get over 35. But again, it's going to have to. He's going to take more threes than he took previously. Like that's how they're going to have to battle it out because they're going to have to shoot a little more to keep up with them.
He's going to kill those.
Yeah, he's going to murk them. Similar to how Kobe murked all the other guys that were trying to guard him, right? Yeah. Like Kobe didn't have a good percentage under the basket and with Chile because Dwight's there, which is I think is going to be a similar situation here. But he's going to be working the post. He's going to be working the jump shots. He's going to be like. That's how it's going to have to be.
That was when Kobe had that classic. He did the dribble, the spin move. And
that's textbook.
Dwight was going to block his shit, and Kobe was like, "Nah, block." And then I got the open dunk. I jizzed so hard. Sorry, but I jizzed so hard when that happened. Like it was just like
for life.
Yeah, it was disgusting. But
Lindsay, what do you think?
I'll take the Bulls in 6.
Why?
We on the same wavelength today, Lynn. That's what I'm talking about. We got 6 against the Knicks. 6 against we lit. But I do want to mention something.
Wait. I want to hear what Lindsay has to say.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Lindsay has words.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I feel like the why isn't much different than what you guys have been saying. I just feel like the perimeter defense on guys who were not putting up that many threes will negate them, and Olajuwon's not going to beat that Bulls team by himself.
I don't know. I feel like he'd definitely get at least 3 by himself. And then that game 7's up for grabs.
That's his love. And it's okay.
I'm giving him 2.
Horace Grant is not guarding Hakeem.
Who's guarding Michael Jeffrey Jordan?
I know, but that cancels each other out, in my opinion.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
it does not. Jordan is the best offensive player we have ever seen to this point.
Hakeem is the best offensive center that we've ever seen.
That is cute, but it's
outside of Will Chamberlain. He's the best offensive center we've ever seen at this point.
Jordan literally could average 40 points in a series.
But he's not doing it against this team because he'd need to get shots under the basket, and he would not be getting them. Like, Hakeem is guarding the paint. And if they make their threes, if these guys make enough threes, it's just about, we know at some point, if the pace goes up to a certain level, that's difficult for the Bulls to keep up with. We know this. That's the biggest thing. That's going to be what we talk about going forward through this hypothetical.
I do want to add something though.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned it earlier, and I was alluding to something, and I said that this Bulls team changes the way this season would go for many reasons, and one of those many reasons is the motivation of this Bulls team, and also the lack of mileage on their body right now. I feel like 94 actual Bulls with Michael Jordan there, would have probably had maybe they go 7 and win, but they have a higher possibility, much higher in my mind, possibility of losing this series. Yeah. And definitely, if they would win this series in '95, they would lose against the 100%. They would lose against the Houston Rockets.
Do you think they have? Because this is fair to talk about, we should talk about this now. This is the best time to talk about it. Yeah. Is Horace Grant on the team in '94 in reality? No matter what, let's say Jordan comes back. Is Horace on the team?
He was on the team that year,
right? He's still there. Assuming he's still there, because he played really well that year, and he played really well the next year for the Magic. I know that.
Yeah, he left in '95. Yeah,
that's right. The second year, right? There's no way they win this series without Horace Grant, because Horace Grant's going to have to do something to Hakeem. The problem is, in my opinion, it's going to end up being nothing. Olajuwon's numbers against the Bulls through this first 3 seasons, in general, are astounding. I'll have them on your screen. But he dominated them, and their record against the Bulls was a positive record.
Yeah.
Like, definitively so.
The only difference in that, though, is it's regular season games, and it's also Michael Jordan in the finals. Yeah,
the Michael Jordan in the finals definitely more motivated Michael Jordan in the regular season, but the regular season for sure mattered more at the time.
No, yeah, for sure. I just feel like MJ in the finals, he always went up to that crazy, like a different.
Yeah, and this is 31 and 11. So if we're gonna, I don't think he's getting 11 assists, but if he's getting to 8 or 9, it's tough to say that Jordan's gonna lose if his teammates are helping. You know, because that's their biggest thing is, without Jordan, are they getting to 70 points? That's always my question. But with Jordan dishing the ball off and being selfless and the teammates stepping up, that's how they combat that 3-point issue.
Yeah, and I really do feel like he could average 40 on this team. But
so the Bulls are going to get this championship, and we think the Bulls would have won 4 straight, which is interesting. Like, because I agree with you, I don't think they get to the 5th. I really don't. At some point, you have to climb back up the mountain, like everyone does.
Yeah. And it's just the difficulty of, like, look at, perfect example is the Warriors.
Right.
In that 5th time that they went straight to the finals, look what happened. Yeah. Clay freaking tore his ACL.
The injury luck for them just broke their way that whole time. And then finally at the end, like you're saying.
And I feel like it all made sense why they, like you put all that mileage on your body. You went through 100 games for 5 straight seasons. That's what's going to happen to you.
And the pace is like going up, which is the other marvel of that.
Yeah.
At least with Jordan, it makes sense why. Like, yeah, it's amazing that he didn't get hurt through as like more often, but the pace was low enough where it's not as much, doing that.
Like Jordan only having 2 major injuries in his career is like crazy.
Yeah, same thing with LeBron.
Yeah.
Like, and getting through what he got through. Because he went through the banging of the early 2000s and then the high pace that we're at now.
Yeah.
And now his body's starting to teeter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what goes into next year. But Bulls are winning the championship in '94. I feel good about it. You feel good about it. And let's move to the next year.